Citrin, we had your restaurant Melisse in Santa Monica. You opened August 1999. I was there, I remember.
Yes.
You put every penny you had, your wife and you, no backers behind you, for a fine dining restaurant in LA. Challenge, huh?
Oh yes, big challenge, but it's been worth every minute of the challenge. 2011,
you're busy, you're packed. People swear by your restaurant. Everybody's, I've never heard any bad things about your restaurant. People are really, and then I just had dinner. It was great. So
glad you enjoyed it.
So your motto is the pursuit of excellence.
Yeah, pursuit of excellence. I try to get everybody in the kitchen to strive for that.
And then,
in the restaurant, actually.
And then the very important part for you is not, it's of course your technique that you developed kind of by yourself, because you didn't go to culinary school. You started, your mother was a caterer.
Yeah.
You'd be helping her when you were young, and then you started staging in different restaurants and learn from you started like the bottom line, and now you're one of Gayot's top 40 restaurants, and you've been top 40 restaurants for
since
2006. Yeah. So you're on that list, and well deserved. And so you learned by yourself, training at different restaurants, including in France.
France, yes, for 3.5 years.
And tell me what kind of cuisine you're doing.
We like to call it modern American cuisine with French influences, but really it's really based on produce and what we can find in the farmers markets and all the product we can find from different farmers. Just the eggs from Peter Shaner, or the sorrel from the Coleman Farms. Just a different, I think we have the abalone from Monterey Abalone Company.
Oh, that abalone dish that we had, it was sea urchin, it was gorgeous.
Yeah, so it's just really, our cuisine is really based on what we can find in product, and then we get inspired from what the farmers produce for us and what we have available, and then we get inspired and we just go from there.
So, and then let's insist on the produce part. You only gonna use seasonal product. You're not gonna buy some vegetable or fruits or meat. Sometimes they're in the wrong season depending where it's coming from. So you get the freshest stuff in every season.
Yes.
That's the base of your creativity, right?
The creativity comes from what's freshest, and what really gets it going is when you don't see it for 6 months. Like tomatoes are going out now. And
so if I come back in 3 weeks here, there will be no tomato north. Yeah.
There will be no tomato dishes. I mean, obviously we always had the lobster bolognese on the menu, but there's a sauce. Besides that, there'll be no tomato. But then when it comes to July again, then all of a sudden you get to see the tomatoes in the market. You're excited to create something new, and then that's how it works. You don't use it all year. So
you reinvent yourself every time you see some produce come back in season, right?
Yeah.
So, but you still have some classics like the caviar eggs,
yes,
right?
Yes, we do. We have the egg caviar, which is a classic. It's been pretty much on the menu for 12 years. The lobster bolognese is a classic. Both the boeuf and the chicken for 2. Those are 2 classics we have. But besides that, pretty much everything comes and goes and it evolves every time.
So what do we have today that's in season?
Okay, well tonight you had the oysters from Carlsbad. Really nice oysters with some horseradish and some avocado. So farmer's market, making everything there. And then you had the egg caviar, the classic egg caviar with California sturgeon, Montagnes caviar from the Delta, Sacramento Delta. Then after that you had, I believe, the abalone dish with sea urchin from Santa Barbara, abalone from Monterey, and sorrel and radishes from the local farmers market.
I have to say that one is a lot of creativity in that dish.
Yeah, that's we love that dish. Then you have the lentil and mushroom soup with a consomme and pheasant, and that's basically kind of really fall dish. When you eat it, you want to feel like it. I get the feeling it's fall when we taste that.
Right.
And some black truffle mousse. And after that you have the foie gras, which again we use persimmons, which are only in season for like 2 months right now, and parsnip and cranberry. So when we fall again, try to use the fall ingredients. And then you have some fresh we just got in today, Caribbean lobster, spiny lobster, which we hardly ever get.
And then tell us how you cook that one. It's almost not cooked.
It's almost not cooked, yes.
Yeah.
It's barely cooked. We blanch it real quickly and then take off the shell, and then we just slice it really thin and just let it sit up in the broiler for a second. until it just gets
It's really
warm.
a second, yeah.
Yeah, it's a second, and then after that we pour the hot juice over it. But that lobster eats better more raw. It doesn't get it gets it
so
falls
fine.
apart. Yeah, if you cook it too much, it falls apart. It's not like a Maine lobster. So that comes out nice, but barely cooked, just warm. Basically, just to kind of get the flavor going.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Then we had the lutemere, right?
Yeah, lutemere, yes, with the crispy scales.
Yeah, very crispy.
Yeah, kabocha squash and merengue mushrooms, king oyster mushrooms, and a squash broth. We like to always use the same vegetable in different ways in the dish. You had the puree of the squash, you had the gnocchi, and the sauce.
And we had 2 meat courses.
You had 2 meat courses. You had a tantan or a guinea hen from Chainer Farms with pine cone broth.
Pine cone broth.
Pine cone broth.
Not everybody does that.
No, but he had the pine cones and he had the guinea hen, so we figured, it's from the same land, it's from the same farmer. We might as well try to combine it together and make something in one dish out of it. The prime ribeye with the I believe it was chanterelle mushrooms and sunchokes. We dried out the sunchokes. The skin is kind of fun. We dry out the skin of the sunchokes and they're really crispy.
I love that one.
Good,
it's like there was only one in the plate. I said, "Where's the other one?" There was no other one. And then cheese selection, where you're in a French influenced restaurant, so you have a very nice cheese selection.
Yeah.
They're very good.
They're nice, and then we try to keep them right. And it sells. I mean, when we started here 12 years ago, cheese was like very few restaurants did cheese. It was, wow, you're doing cheese. How much money do you lose on that? Now cheese has become such a big part of the dining culture in LA.
Well, you have some restaurants have cheese, but you have very nice cheese tray. Yeah, cart. And then dessert with a chocolate dessert.
Yes, you had a chocolate and caramel mousse cake, and then it was a mochaccino, or it's kind of like a flan of cappuccino. And then after that, you had this green tea with green apple. Really, I think, a refreshing way to end the night.
And then we're not going to end the night right there. We're going to end the night with your book. You just published your book, and then some other dishes that we've had tonight are in the book.
Yes,
so
they are. It's a very exciting moment producing this book and getting it out there.
Well, thank you, Chef.
Thank you.